Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. This is L3 News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Smuckman, South Florida, and today's date is Thursday, April 11th, 2019. So let us begin. Oh yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks. Interesting time to be alive, I would say. Be keeping tabs on what's occurring. Italy's looks like they're seizing the gold from the central banks of Rome. And of course everyone's talking about what happened with Julian Assange. I'm going to be talking about that, my intake and so forth. I got to look at all sides too, the best as I can. And it's been talked about for a good period of time that this is going to occur. So to be very frank, I'm not really too surprised. But many folks have strong emotions on this. More of the press, more in journalism, considered critical thinkers, question authority, terrorists. I could say that Julian Assange, like him or not, some people claim he's a shill, or globalist, Zionist, doesn't matter. Big dent will come to the information war. Made some great contributions. What's occurring was very intriguing. The mainstream press are making all these claims. They went on Twitter and said, "Oh yeah, he got what he deserved." But one thing you gotta look at, folks. You gotta protect everyone's freedoms and liberties, including your enemies. If you don't, you create a presence that could backfire on you. This little paraphrase. Thomas Paine warned us about this. So, it doesn't matter if you agree with these individuals or not. They have the right to be heard, right to release all this great information. Imperialism has been a dangerous slope for the United States and the world. Banksters trying to run our lives. So there's claims he's accused of espionage. Interesting about that. It never happened in the United States, so there's no merit. What happened in his territories? They can look at that. It's considered negated. So, one of those areas you have to always observe responsibly. So, right now, I am at Collective Evolution, located at 110 North Federal Highway. Actually, it's in the building, southeast corner of the facility, in the heart of downtown Fort Lauderdale, one block east of US 1. So talking a couple things on here, reference to Assange, and many activists out there are addressing it. And I seen a video, which I posted on Facebook and Twitter, by the way, about Josh Who TV had his own views on it. And don't get me wrong, can it be a cloak and dagger extravaganza? Yeah. Because he did remember, Julian Assange did a lot of information pertaining to the Clinton administration and all that too, and Hillary Clinton and her war profiteering and corruption. So, to those Trump supporters, you have to look at that as well. Like, hey, can it be a great asset? It's possible, but we still gotta be vigilant. I say leave them alone. Oh, so I'm going to be reading from here. First article came from Custodian News. Came out earlier today. It says here, breaking: Moreno withdraws asylum as Assange is arrested. And as it reads, the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has been arrested after the Ecuadorian president Lenin Moreno withdrew Assange's asylum in a move that runs counter to international asylum law. Charged with conspiracy to hack government computer, not espionage. That's from the Custodian News. WikiLeaks tweeted that Ecuadorian British police allowed British police into the London embassy to arrest Assange at around 10:30 a.m. British time, 5:30 a.m. in Washington. U.S. charged Assange with conspiracy to hack computer government. U.S. charged Assange with conspiracy to hack a computer related to the 2010 release of classified information, according to the criminal complaint, unsealed hours after his arrest. Indictment does not charge Assange with espionage. You heard this first from Consortium News. Julian Assange did not walk out of the embassy. The Ecuadorian ambassador invited the police into the embassy, and he was immediately arrested. From the tweets from WikiLeaks. This is a moment when Assange was dragged out by police. He heard to say, "The UK must resist this. The UK must resist." And of course, abruptly video of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's arrest by British police is morning. This is by Barnaby Nurka. Assange was taken with an arrest warrant for skipping bail when he entered the Ecuadorian embassy in June 2012, fearing extradition to the United States, where there is a sealed indictment with his name on it. Assange lawyer Jennifer Robinson tweeted that he has been arrested for breach of bail conditions and also because of a request for extradition from the U.S. Just confirmed by Assange, has been arrested for breach of bail conditions, but also in relation to U.S. extradition request. So there's a lot of interesting stuff here. That's why Judge Robinson says here the U.S. warrant was issued in December 2017 and is aid for conspiracy with Chelsea Manning in early 2010. Assange was taken to a police station and later be brought to magistrate court, according to a tweet with Christine Assange, Julian's mother. I just have spoken to one of Julian's lawyers. Julian is likely to appear before a UK magistrate within 24 hours. Read old defunct bail warrant. UK likely to seek maximum prison of 12 months in higher court. Our focus is, as always, to stop a U.S. extradition. Let's get to it. This is by Mrs. Christine Assange. That's my phone. Good grief, I should keep that quiet. One moment, folks. Oh yeah, the age of injustice. Interesting. But one of those things, folks, you have to really seek out. And interesting. I'm going to probably talk about this, add this to my memo. Paul Craig Roberts, always admired his commentary as well. Former Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa reacted by calling Moreno the great traitor in Ecuadorian and Latin American history. Full translation: the great traitor in Ecuadorian and Latin American history. Leonard Moreno allowed the British police to enter our embassy in London to arrest Assange. Moreno is a corrupt, but what he has done is a crime that humanity will never forget. It's translated in Spanish, so you folks can read that. Here's another one right here. Stated Moreno made a national television address to announce his decision on the expulsion of a refugee to a country that could harm him for political reasons, known as refoulement, is against international law. Moreno accused Assange of repeated violations of international conventions and daily life protocols. U4J will hold an emergency meeting vigil under the hashtag Free Julian beginning at noon. This has already been done. U.S. Eastern Standard Time. That will be webcast live on Consortium News. And I guess you should go on YouTube. You should have it on there. I'm about to check it out myself, so see what he had to say. And of course, NSA whistleblower Ed Snowden reacted on Twitter. Images of Ecuador's ambassador invited the UK secret police into the embassy to drag a publisher of Like It or Not award-winning journalism excuse me here, out of the building, are going up to end up in the history books. Assange's critics may cheer, but this is a dark moment for press freedom. Eric Snowden, and I have to agree with him on it. Journalist and filmmaker John Pilger tweeted the action of the British police and literally dragged Julian Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy and is smashing international law by the Ecuadorian regime and permitting this barbarity are crimes against the most basic natural justice. is a warning to all journalists. It's interesting too. There was an article saying that the International Monetary Fund is giving Ecuador a loan, like it's $4.8 billion. So, look, can we say blackmail? Yeah, they sold their soul to the One World Banking Order. How dandy is that? But one of those areas, my friends, like I said before, is just an example of what can happen. Many people, investigative journalists, have been being slaughtered. I know many of you who are long-time listeners can attest to that. Like I said, a war on journalism is a war with ourselves. When one right's been violated, it breaches us all. I want to continue here. This is from geopolitics.co. WikiLeaks Julian Assange picked up by UK police. SERCO Operatives, that's a question mark. Ecuador Moreno has just handed Julian Assange over to the UK police for possible extradition to the United States, where collateral murder whistleblower Bradley Chelsea Manning is incarcerated again for refusing to snitch on WikiLeaks. Are we worthy of their sacrifices? Assange's arrest was leaked by Ecuadorian embassy insider a few days ago. It says here about and I read it came out on April 4th. A high-level source with Ecuadorian state has told WikiLeaks that Julian Assange will be expelled within hours to days, using the INA Papers offshore scandal as a pretext, and it already has agreed with the UK for his arrest. Reports surfaced months ago suggesting Moreno might collude with the US and UK on Assange, ignoring his citizenship rights, along with revoking his asylum, granting him Ecuador's London embassy by President Rafael Correa in August 2012. On Tuesday, Moreno falsely accused Assange of repeatedly violating the conditions of his asylum, suggesting he will revoke his asylum and hand him over to UK authorities, followed by extradition to the US. Moreno lied, claiming Assange hacked private accounts and phones. The phony accusations relates to a WikiLeaks tweet about what refers to in Ecuador as the INA Papers. In March, information from Moreno's cell phone and Gmail account sent to an opposition lawmaker was published online. The material called the INA Papers, allegedly implicating Moreno, his brother, and close associates of an offshore corruption scandal involving perjury and money laundering. So allegedly, someone pissed him off and may take it on Assange. Interesting there, right? Denying wrongdoing, Moreno turned on his head, saying, "In WikiLeaks, we have seen evidence of spying, intervention, and private conversations on phones, including photos of my bedroom, of what I eat, of how my wife and daughters and friends dance." He accused Correa of spying on him by planting a hidden camera in his wall of his presidential office. Correa called the charge absurd. WikiLeaks published the INA Papers, pressured by Washington and Britain. Moreno has been seeking an easy way to justify revocation of Assange's asylum. He provided no evidence supporting his charges because none exists. Assange is a political refugee granted Ecuadorian citizenship and given asylum in the country's London embassy by former President Correa. Under international law, refugees and asylum seekers are protected. Article 1 of the 1951 UN Convention relating to the status of refugees calls on persons who, owing to a well-founded fear of being persecuted because for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group, or public opinion, are outside the country of their nationality and are unable to or owing to such fear are unwilling to avail themselves of the protection of that country. Incidentally, during the arrest, the RT camera crew caught a SERCO van nearby. It turned out that Assange was indeed transported from the Ecuadorian embassy into his interrogation cell in his van. SERCO goes by many names, so always look under the hood in their corporate documents to find its trails back to Queen Lizzie. In America, it operates as SERCO Inc. and claims on its website that it's a leading provider of professional technology and management services for the federal government. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. Headquartered in Reston, Virginia, SERCO Inc. has approximately 10,000 employees, annually revenue of $2.5 billion, and is ranked in the top 35 of the largest federal prime contractors. Piercing the corporate veil, we find that SERCO Inc. is a wholly owned subsidiary of SERCO Group PLC, a $7 billion international business that works with government and public services around the world. Many researchers say that SERCO runs the UK, United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. SERCO has over 6,000 people in 35 countries around the world. For international readers, it's highly doubtful that they are not operating in your country. Interesting there. And of course, there's a link for that to continue reading, go through different articles. And so, going to be a real interesting case here. Of course, there's this Chelsea Manning's team on Assange's indictment. This from SparrowMedia.net, from Alexandria, Virginia. Today, Chelsea Manning's legal team will file a reply brief, and they're appealing to ask for the 4th Circuit Court to vacate District Court Judge Hilton's on March 8th a finding civil contempt. Ms. Manning, a staunch advocate for government transparency, asserted legal grounds for refusing to participate in what she views as an assault on the free press. She remains in detention as a result of the contempt finding. The Assange indictment disclosed this morning strengthens their claims of grand jury abuse, says Manning's attorneys. The indictment against Julian Assange unsealed today was obtained a year to the day before Chelsea appeared before the grand jury and refused to give testimony. The fact that his indictment has existed for over a year underscores what Chelsea's legal team and Chelsea herself have been saying since she was first issued a subpoena to appear in front of a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia. That compelling Chelsea to testify would have been duplicative of evidence already in the possession of the grand jury and was not needed in order for U.S. attorneys to obtain an indictment of Mr. Assange. Grand juries may not be used for the sole indictment purpose for preparing for trial, including questioning potential trial witnesses. Since her testimony can no longer contribute to a grand jury investigation, Chelsea's ongoing detention can no longer be seriously alleged to constitute an attempt to coerce her testimony, as continued detention would be purely punitive. We demand Chelsea be released. And of course, there's many others here as well are talking about the same thing, about what's going on. And I'm just looking for some stuff here. We had here about shocking video released by WikiLeaks showing the killing of civilians and rural journalists. Some provides context of today's move toward extraditing Assange into the U.S. Let's just check this out here. I'm about to just look into this, and just check this out. Yeah, so the video on that, it's mainly a video. So there's a lot of blackmailing going on and all that too. But it's very such a turnoff. So I'm definitely gonna retweet this on my Twitter page. You folks could follow me on there as well. Loki Luck number 3. And there's many other things that's going to be occurring. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to talk about one more thing pertaining to this matter. So stay tuned. Alright, we're going to do one more here pertaining to Julian Assange. This one here came from Paul Craig Roberts.org. It's entitled The Age of Injustice. And as it reads here, April 11, 2019 brought us a new word for Judas. Moreno, the president puppet of Ecuador who sold Julian Assange to Washington for his 30 pieces of silver. This morning, the arrest of Assange inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London is the first stage of Washington's attempt to criminalize the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Washington's Manning Cuerdo said he revoked Assange's political asylum and Ecuadorian citizenship because Assange engaged in free speech. Interesting, huh? As the race and gender diverse people, police dragged Assange out of the embassy this morning, and I reflected on the utter corruption of 3 governments, the UK, the US, UK, and Ecuador, and their institutions. British police show no shame as they carted Assange from his embassy prison of the last 7 years to a British jail as a way station on the way to the United States to the American one. If the British police had any integrity, the entire force would have called in sick. If the British Parliament had any integrity, they would have blocked London's contribution to Washington's upcoming show trial. If the British had a prime minister instead of a Washington agent, Assange would have been released a long time ago, not held in de facto imprisonment until Washington found Moreno's price. If the Ecuadorian ambassador in London have any integrity, he would have publicly resigned rather than call in the police to take Assange. Is the ambassador so soulless that he can live with himself as a man who helped Moreno dishonor the reputation of Ecuador? So the question is to you, Moreno, how does it feel being an Uncle Tom to the system? And I say that ethically. A yes boy. If the Anglo-American journalists have any integrity, that will be up in arms over the criminalization of their profession. President Trump has survived a 3-year ordeal similar to Assange's 7-year ordeal. Trump knows how corrupt the U.S. intelligence agencies and the U.S. Department of Justice are. If Trump had any integrity, he would bring the shameful and embarrassing prosecution of Assange to an immediate end by issuing a pre-trial pardon. This would also end the illegal imprisonment of Manning, but integrity is something that not thrives in Washington or in London or in Quito. When the Justice Department does not have a crime with which to charge his intended victim, the department trots out conspiracy. Assange is accused of being a conspiracy with Manning to obtain a publicized secret government data, such as the film, which was already known to the Washington Post reporter who failed his newspaper and his profession by remaining silent. Of U.S. soldiers committing extraordinary war crimes without remorse. As a U.S. soldier, it was actually Manning's duty to report the crimes and the failure of U.S. troops to disobey unlawful orders. Manning was supposed to report the crimes to his superiors, not to the public. But he knew the military had already covered up the massacre of journalists and civilians and did not want another melee event on his hands. I don't believe the charge against Assange. If WikiLeaks cracked the code for Manning, WikiLeaks did not need Manning. The alleged grand jury that allegedly produced the indictment was conducted in secret over many years as Washington searched for something that might be pinned on Assange. If there was a grand jury, the jurors were devoid of integrity. But how do we know there was a grand jury? That's a very good question, my friends. Why should we believe anything Washington says after Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction? Assange used chemical weapons against his own people, Iranian nukes, Russian invasion of Ukraine, Russiagate, and on ad infinitum. Why I believe Washington is telling the truth this time, as the grand jury was secret because of national security. Will the trial be also secret and the evidence secret? Is what we have here, a Star Chamber proceeding in which a person is indicted in a secret and convicted in secret on secret evidence. This is a procedure used by tyrannical governments with no case against the person they intend to destroy. The government in Washington, London, and Quito are so shameless that they do not mind demonstrating to the entire world their lawless and lack of integrity. Perhaps the rest of the world in itself so shameless that there will be no adverse consequence for Washington, London, and Quito. On the other hand, perhaps the frame-up of Assange following the Russiagate hoax and the shameless attempt to overthrow democracy in Venezuela and install Washington's agent as the president of that country will make it clear to all that the free world is led by a rogue and lawless government. Washington is speeding up the decline of its empire as Washington makes it clear that Washington is worthy of no respect. No confidence that justice will be served can be placed in any American trial. In Assange's trial, justice is not possible. With Assange convicted by the media, even the jury convinced of his innocence will convict him rather than face denunciation for freeing a Russian spy. Assange's conviction will make it impossible for media to report leaked information that is unfavorable to the government. As the president expands, future prosecutors will claim the Assange case as a precedent for prosecuting critics of the government who will be charged with an intent to harm to the government. The age of justice and accountable government is being brought to an end. That's what can happen, my friends, when their own treasonous exhibition. That's right, treasonous. These sons of these rogue parasites make Benedict Arnold a courageous patriot. I'm talking about all the clowns in Washington, D.C. To all the freedom fighters in Britain are rolling in their graves or got slapped in the face by their tyrannical elements, including Ecuador. That's right. They got the Uncle Toms, the Bend Over Bobs, to the banking order, the One World Order, Imperial Order, etc. This is why they want to end free thought. And all these individuals that want to crucify this man, like him or not, are nothing more than Orwellian saps or snowflakes. Orwellian snowflakes. You are not my friend. You are my enemy for life. You are despised by the hearts of liberty-minded individuals out there. That's a fact. You're going to make J. Edgar Hoover climax in his grave with this form of practice. So everyone out there, regardless where you're from, what your views are, if you support natural law, free speech, free press, etc., should be calling these people out. Justice for Assange and anyone else that can be considered a political prisoner, whether it's the United States, Britain, Ecuador, etc., worldwide. Another example of the global war on terror. Unacceptable in my room. I know many of the folks out there can attest to that. Alright. Next thing I'm going to be addressing here, my friends, came out a couple of days ago from World Tribune. Alabama daily document problems at Southern Poverty Law Center 25 years ago. Oh, really? This actually came out April 9th. As it says here, last month reports emerged of a work atmosphere at the leftist Southern Poverty Law Center that included allegations of sexual harassment and racial and gender discrimination. Morris Steves, who founded the SPLC in 1971, was fired. President Richard Cohen and legal director Wanda Brownstein, both of whom have been at the center since 1986, resigned. And it says here, Senator Tom Cotton, Arkansas Republican, says he sent a letter to the Internal Revenue Service requesting an investigation into the tax-exempt status of the Southern Poverty Law Center, which said he blasted a racist and sexist slush fund devoted to defamation against conservative groups and individuals. In March 21st, New Yorker article, former SPLC staffer Bob Moser described the center as in many respects a highly profitable scam. You know what's funny about that, folks? I called him out too 25 years ago, okay? It was like, I'm 50 years old, but I have to laugh. But I'm going to keep on going here. I pulled tens of millions of dollars annually, but did little in the way of actual poverty law. There's a And it says here, problems with the SPLC have been documented as far back as 1994 when the local newspaper of the Montgomery, Alabama-based center published an 8-part series titled Rising Fortunes, More Steeds in the Southern Poverty Law Center. Jim Tharp, a retired journalist who was the managing editor of the Montgomery Advisor when the series was published, wrote in a April 7th op-ed for the Washington Post that after 3 years of research, the advertiser found a plenty of problems and questionable practices at the SPLC, including a deeply troubled history with its relatively few black people, some of whom reported to hearing the use of racial slurs by the organization staff, and others who likened the center to a plantation, misleading donors with aggressive direct mail tactics, exaggerating its accomplishments, spending most of his money not on programs but on raising money and paying his top staffers, including Dees and Cohen, lavish salaries. It's funny because I remembered, recall when they were trying to send me something, you know, I just like to, I always tell them, hey, not interested. Boom, I said, return to sender. You know, if they ever send me something like that again, I might just write my rear end on it and send it back to them. That's how I look at it. Hey, look, portable toilet paper, right? All right. It says here, the advertising report was a 1995 finalist of the Pulitzer Prize for Extraordinary Journalism. Dees and Cohen denied the report's findings, and Tharp noted the SPLC mounted an aggressive campaign against the series when it was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. Tharp noted that based on the details of Dees' ouster last month, the problem we identified 25 years ago did not appear to have been resolved. The question isn't what went wrong at the SPLC, is why it took so long for the country to learn that reporters already knew. Tharp wrote, it will probably take a federal investigation to fully unravel this deep state mystery and provide a credible long-term fix. Tharp noted when he was managing editor, the Montgomery Advisor was located 1 block from the SPLC in downtown Montgomery. Oh, what a convenience, huh? We were at the time anything but adversaries with the center. Tharp wrote, like other media outlets, we were generating pirated SPLC news releases. We also became friends with SPLC staffers, occasionally attending the center's parties. Some of my reporters dated staffers at the center. How nice, huh? Tharp said he proposed an investigation to SPLC after hearing the ongoing complaints from former SPLC staffers who came and went with regularity but always seemed to tell the same story. The only names and faces changed. SPLC, they said, was not what it appeared to be. Many urged the newspaper to take a look. After advertising reporters began making serious inquiries about the SPLC's finances and the treatment of its black employees, the center's leaders threatened legal action on several occasions. At one point, attacked the newspaper's investigation in a mass mailing to Montgomery lawyers and judges. Then they slammed the door. Tharp wrote, how glamorous, huh? Accommodating a charade of objectivity simply takes too much of our time. SERCO co-founder Joseph Levin wrote the Advertiser in 1993. Our patience in this matter is exhausted and we will not respond to further inquiries of any sort. Tharp said that the investigation of the SPLC should take a close look at its finances. It should look at what the center has told donors in its mail solicitation over the years. It should not take a close look at how that donor money has been spent. Investigators should also look at how SPLC staffers have been treated over the years. Where was the center's board when this mistreatment was going on, and why did not? Oh, sorry about that. Why did no one step up sooner? Right for the National Review, columnist David French noted, I hope the SPLC's reckoning will result in a sober reassessment of its legacy and a reconsideration of its targets. I hope that the SPLC's moral collapse means the end of its public credibility, but sadly, I'm not holding my breath. Too many activists and members of the media share the SPLC's hatred and biases. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And hey, I gotta get a good laugh here. So, and this goes way back too. Interesting. So you can actually look at this yourselves. Okay, extra articles related to this matter. But a person like myself, I never really, I've seen a TV movie about it, how great this man was, and all these bodyguards, and just hearing this rhetoric, representing folks that made big mistakes, and they try to praise them like they're heroes and role models. And even some of his rhetoric, I got a little bit turned off. I'm like, this man here is doing it for business purposes, to make money off of racism, hatred. Division benefits the Southern Poverty Law Center, in my personal view. Are there good people in the organization? Yeah, I can say that. Well, I always consider them, but based on what I observed, I consider them a charlatan organization. Quack groups, for sure. So, it's one of those things you got to really examine, and it does really just... I'm not surprised. This is why I always observe responsibly. Hey, I remember listening to other sites at the awards and all that, but like I told people, examine everything responsibly. Always focus on the information, not the person, and always verify. And I've been pretty good about that. And like I said, someone corrects me, that's awesome too. That's how we learn. But one thing is blown back in their faces. Because one of the biggest mistakes the Southern Poverty Law Center made was going after honorable individuals such as Larry Pratt and Ron Paul as potential terrorists, and Chris Ann Hall, We Are Change, like Luke Rudowski. They're saying they're potential terrorists. And right there, they're desperate. And they got exposed for it. Now everything's blown back in their faces. So you know what? If the Southern Poverty Law Center goes to oblivion, I could care less. I'll say rest in shame, you pretentious parasites that are trying to run propaganda, manipulate, and con people. That's their business. People still follow them like they're a great source. Always verify. How accurate is it? Like everything else. But Morris Tees resigned or got fired. Well, he was never an honorable man, based on what I've learned from him. All right, I'm gonna do one more here. This is short and sweet. It's by Michael McHarry and McHarry.com. Came out on the 8th, a few days ago. What does freedom mean to you? It says here, this is going to be a short email. Well, I just got back from spending a few days in Los Angeles. I'm travel weary and a little jet lagged. And it's human, it happens to everybody. But something occurred to me during the trip that I wanted to share. We can often become myopic about what freedom means. When I told people I was going to California, I got a number of negative comments. Most of them along the lines of, why would you go to California? I get it. There are a lot of awful policies in place in California that are antithetical to freedom, particularly high taxes and absurd regulations. But in some ways, the state is freer than my home state of Kentucky. When I was in LA, I visited the weed store. It was basically like an Apple store, except for marijuana. It was a little surreal being in a place where people were purchasing something that will get me locked up in a cage in Kentucky. Now, I'm not a weed guy, but I did buy some CBD oil that is not available in Kentucky because it contains a trace of THC. So here in Kentucky, I can easily get a gun, but I can't buy CBD with a trace of THC in it. California, people can walk into a store and buy weed, but can't carry a gun. So who is freer? Honestly, I don't know. It really just depends on your priorities. is that a lot of things is subjective. I think the bottom line is that no matter where you are, there are battles to fight for freedom. No matter where you are, there are freedoms you can exercise. Quote of the week. What I must do is that all concerns me. I'm not what people think. This rule equally adores in actual and in intellectual life. May serve for the whole distinction between greatness and meanness. It is harder because you will always find those who think they know, when it is your duty better than know it. It is easy in the world to live after the world's opinion. It is easy in solitude to live after our own. But the great man is he in who, in the midst of the crowd, keeps with perfect sweetness the independence of solitude. That's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And absolutely, there's a lot of pros and cons in every state in the Union, and even in countries around the world. You got good folks, and you got ingrates with bad qualities, bad stock. Medical marijuana in Florida, they're going to try to compromise, try to do some compromising here and there. Victims' crime laws are being reduced, which is good, but there's still a lot of battles in my state. I know there's a report that there's almost 2 million people in Florida can carry a permit. To me, that's a privilege. I believe in natural-born rights under Article 1, Section 2 of my state constitution. But I told everyone this: in due time, constitutional carry will exist in the Sunshine State. And I'm pro-free speech across the board, including BDS. Florida has an anti-BDS law. To me, it's repugnant to my state constitution because it does not supersede Article 1, Section 2, 4, and 5 of my state constitution. Yes, it is invalid, negated, null and void. That's how you gotta practice, my friends. And one thing you gotta look at your state constitutions. You have natural rights. Exercise them to the fullest. You have to take a little risk now and then. Remember what Thomas Jefferson said, a little rebellion now and then is good. A lot of great individuals out there were mavericks. Doesn't matter what books you read. Even if you read the Bible, it's not praising Christianity like that. But there are characters in those publication were a lot of rebels and mavericks, including Jesus. Prove me wrong, please. Just to give you guys an example. But the fact is this: everyone can enhance themselves and inspire others to be free. Never try to change people, but inspire them on bettering themselves and liberating everyone else. A chain reaction. Liberty is freedom and morality, as long as you don't violate others. That's how I see it. And in due time, with that mindset, the more you know, the more you implement, the less you fear. And you can say, government needs me more I need them. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you say something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Plus, I will leave all my footnotes, including media sites, social media sites, email addresses on my speaker page. And that's it. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.